Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Jeff, and I'm a producer at WAVY-TV 10 in Norfolk, Virginia. Sometimes with my job, I get to talk to some really cool people, and today I'm talking to another WWE superstar. It's the Intercontinental Champion GUNTHER. We talked about his title reign, his career in general, and we also talked about the death of Terry Funk. He passed away earlier this week, so I wanted to get his thoughts on his influence in the professional wrestling business. So, without further ado, here is my interview with the Intercontinental Champion, GUNTHER. All right, WWE Raw coming to Norfolk Scope, September 11th, 2023. I'm very, very excited to be joined right now by the WWE Intercontinental Champion, GUNTHER. How you doing, man?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, you've been with the main roster for a little more than a year now. Have you been here before to Norfolk?
I don't think so. No, I think it's going to be the first time, actually.
Awesome. So just so you know, we're a big military town. WWE's done tribute to the troops here before. Lot to do, a lot of food. If you have time to check it out, it's a good spot. So very excited that you're coming here for the first time.
Yeah, I think we're going to have the time. I think we're coming in from India like a day prior, so we're going to have a full day to spend in Norfolk. So going to definitely take advantage of them.
Absolutely. You get always there's always naval based tours. You can check out the USS Wisconsin, stuff like that if you're into that kind of thing. So it's not, there's never nothing to do around here. So all right. You gotta talk about first thing I want to talk about is the big news in the pro wrestling world this week. Terry Funk passed away yesterday. I know he's one of the most influential professional wrestlers of all time. Some say he's the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Just your thoughts on him, if you ever had any interactions with him, anything like that.
Yeah, very sad news. I was fortunate enough to meet him once. He came to Germany when I was still living there and wrestling there. He was on a show as a special guest. Yeah, and had a brief interaction with him. Was very, yeah, a very pleasant experience, I would say. Very nice person. And overall, but if you look at his life achievements in professional wrestling, I think he had a once in a lifetime career. He was all over the globe. Left his mark everywhere, and yeah, like I just said, very sad news to everybody in this industry.
So moving on from that, you this week for yourself, you're on Monday Night Raw. You're against Chad Gable, and things didn't go your way for the first time on the main roster. You did lose by countout, so you're still the Intercontinental Champion. Let's point that out to everyone. But just having a streak like that, is that something pro wrestlers take pride in?
I'm definitely taking pride in my title reign, because ever since I came to the main roster, it didn't take too long until I got my hands on the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. And since then, I could, leave my own mark in the legacy of that title. In the same process, I'm building my own legacy. And I've been doing it my way, like the way I've always expressed myself in the ring. I'm still doing that, and that's something I'm very proud of, obviously. Obviously, wins and losses in wrestling are something different than other sports, I would say. But in my situation, obviously, it's very important to win because I plan to stay Intercontinental Champion.
Very good. Now you have because you're coming up on the record. You're coming up on the Honky Tonk Man. His title reign. You know that title reign was 35 years ago. So what does it mean to you to potentially get yourself in the history books like that?
I mean, yeah, we will see if that happens. There's still some time to go. I actually think, because I just looked it up before, I think September 9th is the date where the record falls, and quite soon after that, we're in Norfolk, so maybe I can have a little celebration then. So uh,
Yeah.
we'll we'll see. I mean, once it's all done, I think it's a great accomplishment, obviously. For myself, like growing up in Austria and yeah, watching WWE as a kid on tapes. And like back then watching like Brett and Sean and whoever held the title then. And now fast forward all those years, being in the same conversation as those people. That's still something very surreal to me, obviously. But it's also something I pretty much grew into now. And yeah, I belong there. And I added my, yeah, I think what I added to the legacy of the title is something very special.
So yeah, you brought up, you are from Austria. I believe you are the first Austrian WWE superstar, if I'm not mistaken. What does it mean to you to kind of just carry your country's flag in this whole thing?
It's yeah, it's great. I think Austria always had like a very rich history in professional wrestling. Like Otto Wanz in, I think was it the 70s or the 80s, he was the AWA World Heavyweight Champion. Very controversial, but he was. So I grew up on that. Like my parents took me to the tournaments in Vienna. Um, and yeah, now being there and representing Austria basically on that platform is something very special. And the feedback I get from Austria directly too, like the media is very heavily involved and very interested in what is going on in my career. Just recently, I was the first pro wrestler ever on the front page of the nationwide newspaper, of the biggest one. That support obviously means a lot, and yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
That is very cool. That I mean, that does it ever? Do you ever stop like being impressed? Oh my god, I'm featured here. Oh my god, I'm talking to this person. Like, does that feeling ever stop for you, or you just kind of get used to it?
I personally am a person I adapt very fast to things in life. And also right now it's everything happens very fast. Especially with the schedule we have, we're always on the go. There's rarely any time to breathe really. So since ever since I joined the main roster, I just yeah, feels like I jumped on a roller coaster and hasn't stopped yet, if that makes sense. I think all those accomplishments will really sink in once yeah, I'll have a chance to step back for a little while and review it all, if that makes sense.
So your in-ring work is some of the best that I've ever seen, that a lot of people have ever seen. You're a big guy, you move well in the ring. Your chop, like if I took one of your chops, I think I'd be in the hospital for a week because it's just so amazing to watch. You always leave a mark on the guy. Like, what is that? Like, just working on your in-ring stuff. You mentioned Bret Hart before. He's clearly influenced you a little bit. Just you take your pride in being the ring general. And what is it? Why did you focus more on in-ring stuff? Because I think you do. I think you do most of your talking in the ring as opposed to on the microphone.
Yeah. So when I started wrestling in Austria, when I started training and everything, um, I was taught, my coach was still wrestling under Otto Wanz, and wrestling there was way more competition based. So my training would be solely focused on yeah, technique and yeah, the in-ring things. And also when you then get on events and you can wrestle and then you see what everybody else does. And during that time, obviously, WWE was very popular in Austria and was then really the only wrestling product out there that was popular. Everybody tried to be like a WWE wrestler. And that converts, yeah, really bad into the German language, if that makes sense, because in general, the society is different in Austria. It's way calmer, I would say, and way less jolly. So I always thought it's like, no, I can't do that. I need to focus on the competitive side of it. And then when I started training, I really paid a lot of attention to Japanese wrestling, like 80s, 90s, All Japan and stuff like that. And that's, yeah, I really found a big liking in that, and I felt like that's something that suits me very well. So yeah, I studied that and put my focus on becoming the best wrestler that I can be when it comes to what we do in the ring. And that's, yeah, because I always thought that that's something, that's the route I have to go, that's going to pay off for me one day.
Awesome. So we're talking about your stablemates, Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci. You've worked with Kaiser forever. I mean, all the way back in your Europe days. What about them? You're both him and Vinci. What about them complements you so well?
I mean, you just mentioned with Kaiser, like I know him. I think he started maybe 1 or 2 years after me, and we pretty quickly after that we wrestled each other for the first time. And when I later on moved to Germany, we used to live in the same area, like in the northern part of Germany. So a lot of the travel we would do to the events, we would do together. And yeah, since then, basically our careers have been linked. He signed earlier with WWE than I did. I wanted to stay outside of it a little bit longer and do my thing on the indies, and he went his way. And for all for all of it to come together now on the main roster, the timing for that was perfect. And yeah, still doing the same things that we did in town halls in front of 70 people, doing that now on the stage that WWE offers is, yeah, that's fantastic. You cannot ask for more. Obviously, when Ludwig signed with WWE, he pretty soon became friends with Gio, because they were both German speaking. They signed at the same time, so they got really close friends. And when I finally signed with WWE and joined NXT UK, it was kind of like, yeah, it was, everything was there for us three to get together and yeah, do the thing we do now.
Yeah, I mean, you dominated in NXT UK. I mean, you pretty much were the face of that promotion for pretty much the entire existence of it, for the most part. Did you want to stay? You mentioned you wanted to stay in Europe. Was that more to learn the WWE style, or was that more of just I just want to do this?
I just always looked at the main roster as something I don't see myself fitting in what I do. My approach was always like, I can do what I can do. That's what I can offer, and either take that or you don't want it. Like I never wanted to change for anyone because I really believed in what I do and how I carry myself. That's the right way for me to go. So it was always very, yeah, apprehensive towards that step. I wanted to wait things out a little bit, especially back then. I would say there was a little bit something like a gold rush, I want to call it, when WWE opened the doors to the indie wrestling market more, and they signed a lot of people at the same time. And I always felt like, okay, everybody goes that one direction. Maybe I should, yeah, wait it out a bit and see what happens. And yeah, luckily enough for me, everything worked out perfectly timing wise in my career. And yeah, we ended up here.
So obviously the title reign's been very long, very successful, but there's always a next step, you know? And that next step, whether it's WWE Universal title or WWE World Heavyweight Championship, when do you see yourself kind of, because I think you're going to get an opportunity eventually. When do you see yourself kind of making that next step?
We'll see. Like, nobody plans on losing a title, first of all. Like, I get asked about like the next step or something quite often, but nobody plans on losing a title. So I don't plan on losing the Intercontinental Championship. But I obviously am aware of that there's room to grow, and there's still some matches out there with the guys that are in the top spot now that are very interesting for our audience. So we will see what happens. I think the Royal Rumble is around the corner. Should I be in the Royal Rumble? I think I'm one of the favorites to do it, and that would automatically lead to WrestleMania. So we'll see what the possibilities of that are.
That's right. You had an amazing run in the Royal Rumble this past year. I believe you were the last one eliminated, but that's usually a good sign if you have a run like that. So
yeah, so like I said, we'll see if I'm back in that match again. I'm definitely one of the favorites. And yeah, I cannot predict the future. We will all see what's going to happen then.
very awesome. WWE Raw coming to Norfolk, Virginia on September 11th. We'll have links for tickets on wavy.com. Gunther, I don't have anything else for you, man. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, taking time out of your day to talk to me. Really appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. You're always fun to watch.
Thank you very much for having me, and yeah, have a lovely rest of your day.
Thanks for watching that interview with WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther. Always great to talk to WWE superstars, especially ones held in high regard like that, like Gunther, and especially his in-ring work. He's just so much fun to watch, and it's really just a privilege to be able to talk to him about the business today. Next week, another interview. WWE World Women's Champion Rhea Ripley will join me. I've talked to her before. Unfortunately, that interview didn't get to air last time because we had some circumstances out of our control here. But I'm very, very excited to share that next one with you guys next week. So come on back here, tune on in. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.